My name is Val. I'm a software engineer based out of New York for MongoDB, and I unfortunately do not speak a word of Hebrew, so I'm going to stick to English. And I'm going to be talking to you guys today about some of the cool new things that are coming down the pipe in the JavaScript community and how the work we're doing at MongoDB is going to help you guys take advantage of that. Just a little bit more about me. I work on the continuous integration server, or MongoDB's internal continuous integration server, and I also work on Node.js related things. So I work on the Node driver, as well as maintain the Mongoose ODM, which I'll talk to you a lot about in this talk and in my talk at 11:45. In previous development lives, I have worked in high-frequency trading, and I was the CTO of a company called Level Up, and I maintained a couple of production mean stack apps, actually. So ASCOP project is default, or is currently defunct, but Bookalocal is still up and out there. So what is Mongoose? Mongoose is a powerful and elegant ODM for MongoDB and Node.js, originally community authored, actually by the same guy who wrote Socket.io, but now maintained with all the love in the world by MongoDB. Provides several key features for developing and working with databases in Node.js. For example, active record style objects and validation per each MongoDB collection. Powerful syntactic sugar, doing things like fluent syntax and chaining, so writing find where answer is 42. We also provide a populate function. Since MongoDB by itself does not support an equivalent to an SQL join, Mongoose provides you a nice little helper function that acts somewhat like a join, not exactly the same, but close enough for a lot of practical uses. We also provide standards compliant promises, and once again, originally authored by the community. So first thing I'm going to talk about is ECMAScript 6. Harmony, which is the new version of the JavaScript language standard that's going to add in some very exciting features right into the heart of JavaScript, and how we're going to help you integrate Mongoose into these new features. So the big killer feature, or the one that you've probably heard most about in ECMAScript 6, is the yield keyword and generator functions. This will enable you to write out very complex asynchronous code without the pyramid of doom, or some people might call it banana code, where you have callbacks and your code goes like this. Too many indents gets to be a bit annoying. You can access yield, or the yield keyword in Node.js right now in the current unstable release of Node.js 0.11. I think the latest is 6, give or take. But well, with Node -- Harmony. And to effectively use the yield keyword, you still need a library. Some libraries that you can use are Q, the popular promises library, and Co, which is dedicated to the yield function and the new JavaScript language standard. It's written by TJ Holloway-Chook, the guy who wrote Express and pretty much every other Node module known to man. There's a special syntax, which is function star for a generator function, or a function that can yield. So let's take a look at what yields looks like in action. One killer feature that it enables is the ability to do try-catch for asynchronous code. If you've run JavaScript before, you've probably noticed that if you try to do try, and then there's an error in your callback, it's not actually going to work. You're not going to be able to catch anything. So what yield enables you to do, this co-fs is a wrapper around the fs functions for the co library. So here we're just calling an asynchronous function within a try-catch block, and if there's an error, we'll get an error. It will be caught. Also, you can have a very nice, elegant replacement around functions like async.parallel or q.all, which enable you to run multiple asynchronous functions in parallel and then aggregate the results. Here, you get a very, very easy way of doing this by just yielding an array. And again, this will work as expected. You'll catch an error, even though you have multiple asynchronous functions running in parallel. With Mongoose, in the current stable branch, most API operations support the yield function, but not all. In the next unstable release 3.9.1, all of our API functions will support yield through promises. However, so this is a block of code that if you come to my talk at 11:45, I will discuss in more detail. But this is actually but without using yield though. So MongoDB in 2.6 introduced a very exciting new feature called text search, which is effectively functions like Google for your MongoDB documents, being able to say, these are the words that I want to be able to search for associated with this particular document. So here I'm searching through a list of food items, limiting to 10, ordering by the most relevant results, and using yield in Mongoose. So let's take a look at some of the things that you'll be able to do or common use cases with yield and Mongoose. Batch save. So I have a list of users, and I want to be able to call save on all of them. Without yield, this can be a little bit messy. This is a pattern that you'll see fairly frequently if you're writing Node.js code. Just you're pushing a bunch of functions onto an array and then calling async.parallel to run all of these save functions in parallel, aggregating all the results. Now, when you get yield, well, this becomes an awful lot easier. You essentially just map all of the user save functions and yield the entire array. If one of the functions fails, you get a nice error. Otherwise, everything succeeds quite nicely. And you don't even need if you want to be really, really lazy, you don't even need that promises, the promises variable. All you have to do is just yield_.map, which is super cool. Now, part 2, again, Browserify is a very exciting new technology that is slowly but surely changing the way we use Node.js. It enables you to take Node.js code with all of its numerous requires, modules, et cetera, and compile that into something that is friendly to the browser that you can run in Chrome or Internet Explorer, or hopefully not Internet Explorer. But so one of the problems right now is that Mongoose has no real good way of integrating with Browserify. If you try to right now require Mongoose and compile it with Browserify, it will crash, at least on the stable branch. But on the unstable branch, on the other hand, we've managed to get a reasonable approximation. Let's see what we're going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to have schemas and schema validation that you can include into the browser. So you're going to be able to take a Mongoose schema, which up until now you can only run in Node.js on the server side, compile that into your client-side code via Browserify, and sort of unify everything. Now, as the rapper Nas once put it, life is simple when all you need is one mic, and when all you need is one language, one schema, your life becomes a lot easier. And sort of the promise of being able to take this same schema, use it to validate both on the client and on the server, really exciting stuff. So here's something that I actually just got working on Friday, which is very cool. This basically, I'm requiring in a browser submodule in Mongoose, which for now is how we're doing it, but that's going to change before the Mongoose 4.0 release. I'm creating a schema, again using the same Mongoose schema creation syntax. I'm creating a controller in AngularJS, which is going to allow me to basically integrate this in the browser. And when I pipe this through Browserify, I'm going to get a very simple output that basically lets me validate my objects using the same schema that I used on the server. So right now the Browserify schemas are a very rough proof of concept. I don't even think they're quite alpha ready, but it's up on GitHub, and it will also support ES6 generators when ECMAScript 6 finally gets full adoption in Node.js and hopefully in browsers at some point soon. So little review of what we just talked about. JavaScript has a very, very exciting future. ES6 generators will make writing your async code much easier. And if you haven't seen Browserify in action yet, you should go and check it out. It will really change the way you write Node.js code and client-side code in general. There's nothing quite as nice as being able to require Angular in your package.json. And Mongoose and MongoDB in particular, we're working hard to make sure that you can take advantage of all of this exciting new technology. And shameless plug, I will have a talk at 11:45 on the server track on building a full mean stack application in an hour using Browserify and Mongoose and a couple of the other things that I have talked about in this talk. So thank you guys very much. You can go check out Mongoose on GitHub, open up issues, contribute, and the slides for this will be up on my SlideShare and Twitter. So thank you very much.